5.5 is the Grand Prix of keel boats. They're development class. No two boats are exactly alike, but it's up to the skipper to choose his designer, and he is more a part of a boat than he is with a one design class.
The development of the boats have been quite astonishing insofar that the boat seems to be shorter. I would have expected them to, like the 6 meter, to grow and become longer and bigger. Also, the boat seems to have developed to some kind of dinghies. That is, that you have to hike outside the boat very much just to accomplish some kind of basic stability for them.
They're extremely complicated to sail and very much like a violin built of wood, and they have to be highly tuned.
The blue Pacific off Sydney's beautiful northern beaches. In this Cook bicentenary year, the magnet for some of the world's finest yachtsmen. 5.5 experts, like America's Ted Turner and Sweden's Tom Nathurst, eager to battle for the world's championship against Australia's best and other international stars. In a distinguished company, His Royal Highness, Crown Prince Harold of Norway.
The reason for me being out here is a combined one. First of all, because it's the bicentenary of Captain Cook's landing in Australia, and I'll join the Norwegian Export Council on a trip around parts of Australia, and also because of the 5.5 World Championships in Australia. And I'm going to be a competitor in those series, and I'm looking forward to that very much. My wife also sails. I have occasionally crewed with her, but somehow it didn't do the marriage any good, I don't think. We seemed to be quarreling a bit on board the boat, so we gave that up, more or less. Here in Australia, we borrowed a boat from Mr. Carl Halvorsen, a lovely boat called Crest, and to have any chance at all, with the short time we had to tune the boat and get used to the boat, I found that I had to bring my own crew, and partly my own sails as well.
Off the Barrenjoey Peninsula, the fleet positions for the start of the second event of the bicentenary regatta, the Craven Filter Invitation Race. The first event, the Australian Gold Cup Series, was fought out a few days ago on Sydney Harbour. The winner, Southern Cross 2, moves away smartly again today, as skipper Norman Booth sets his course for the Craven Filter Invitation. Coming up to the weather mark, it's ready with the spinnakers. Tom Nathurst takes Sweden's Tomato round first, followed by Crown Prince Harold in Crest and the Australian yacht Carabella. Southern Cross 2 is lying in fourth place. Spinnakers out as the rest of the field makes the turn. On the square run to the leeward mark, Crest still in second place to Tomato. For the moment, it's Scandinavia's race, but 5.5s take handling, as Crown Prince Harold finds with Crest rolling under its kite. However, it's Southern Cross 2, following hard on Carabella, which will bring Norman Booth his second win of the regatta.
Your Royal Highness and gentlemen, this briefing was necessary because not only have we some competitors from overseas who haven't seen the course in which the first of this series will be sailed, but in any case, local 5.5 owners haven't sailed the course which will be set for today, the Scandinavian Gold Cup and the World Trophy races. Unlike the Olympic course, it's sailed in segments of a circle, with angles of 60 degrees, making an equilateral triangle. It's quite a long way to the course. The nearest part of it would be approximately 6 miles from here. Now, to get there, if there is insufficient wind to sail, you can depend on getting assistance from all over the place in the form of towing. This is a race which has commanded considerable interest, and I'm sure you will find ready cooperation from all at hand for any of your needs.
With Princess Sonia urging him on from the sidelines, Crown Prince Harold quickly makes his mark in the Scandinavian Gold Cup Series. In the second race, Crest lies third to John B. and Nemesis, with Southern Cross 2 in fourth place as they beat to windward. every skipper racing to win, because only the winners of the first 3 races can compete in the important deciding events. Already the Swedish yacht Tomato is one up with a first heat win, and Tom Nathurst is looking for another as he presses crest around the windward mark. But first around is John B. from the Bahamas, leading America's Nemesis. On the run back to the leeward mark, the leaders hold their positions. Bobby Simonet in first place, taking full advantage of the 8-knot nor'easter. But by the time they round the leeward mark, Nemesis has managed to knock 12 seconds off John B.'s lead. The first boat to win 3 races will take out the Scandinavian Gold Cup. Bahamas representative still looks set as she beats to windward. But Prince Harold badly wants a win for Norway. Moving on to the wind, he gets through Nemesis and rounds the weather mark in second place. Another change in fourth place as Norman Booth brings up Southern Cross 2. And he could do better still. Nemesis has lost her spinnaker halyard. Agonizing for the crew, time trickling by as they fight to regain the dragging sail. And with it, boats moving past on the shy run to the wing mark. And Norman Booth can smell blood as he brings Southern Cross 2 up to third. That kite in the drink was too much for Nemesis. She's even trailing Sweden's Tomato now as she comes around in fifth place. John B. of the Bahamas, ensuring her chance at the Cup with a win of 1 minute 15 seconds from Norway's crest, with Southern Cross 2 of Australia in third place. A happy run home for Bobby Simonet and his crew, now that John B. is assured of racing beyond the cut-off point. Only the boats with wins in the first 3 races can continue, and colourful American yachtsman Ted Turner is determined that Nemesis, up to now sailed by Ernie Fay, will make her bid to chalk up 3 wins. Flying into Sydney on the morning of the 3rd race, he joins his crew and scores an American victory. Tomato, John B. and Nemesis. The stage is set for one of them to take out the Scandinavian Gold Cup.
Argentina calling committee vessel. Argentina calling committee vessel. Over.
Hello, Argentina, committee vessel here. I don't think this wind will change. It's coming in fairly strong. Over.
Thank you, committee vessel. We're reading you loud and clear. We're waiting for our start line. Over.
I'm the navigator working in the navigator's boat. We position each mark and tell the boat carrying the mark where to lay it. The starter's boat, first of all, decides the direction of the wind, and we go off on the first leg and lay it 2 1/3 miles to windward.
Okay, he's laying his mark, though. He's laying his offshore mark. Argentina to committee vessel. Argentina to committee vessel. Over.
Committee vessel to Argentina. Go ahead, please. Over.
That'll be circular. You should travel half a mile.
270.
270. Over.
Committee vessel to Argentina.
Roger.
Another race shares the course during the final stages of the Scandinavian Gold Cup. This is the WD&HO Wills 3-day trophy series, an open event for all yachts except the 3 battling for the Cup. 15 minutes after the Scandinavian contestants have got underway, 9 yachts move in for the start of the WD&HO Wills 3-day trophy. They're on their way, all the Australians and the international boats which failed to survive the cut-off in the Scandinavian Gold Cup. Understandably, Crown Prince Harold would have liked to take back the Scandinavian Gold Cup for Norway, but he settles for an alternative by moving Crest smartly into the lead in a bid for the Wills Trophy. Carabella holds second place. Australians Carabella and Altair fill minor placings, but the trophy goes to Crest of Norway.
Well, it was a very flat sea today. There was not sort of any wave of any size, but it had a little sea on top of that, what we call a slop. And this slop can be very uncomfortable to small boats because if they get on the starboard bow, port bow, and they get sort of one underneath the counter, it does incline to throw them off. And not being much wind today in the early part of the race, I suppose at the end it must have come in around about 12-14, but the early part it wasn't so strong. They must get their boat going through the water. keeping her up as near as they can to hull speed, getting again through the water. Being light wind today and this little stop, that's difficult to do, so they've got to sail a little bit off the wind to keep their boat going through the water. Well, take Gordon Ingate. He's sailed everything from a 12 metre down to a little VJ. He's been good in every class. Dave Forbes represented Australia in the star class in Olympic Games. Well, now he's sailing a 5.5. I think you find all these skippers here have sailed all types of boats.
From the telly room at Newport, the results. The WD and H.O. Wills 3-day trophy to Crest, skippered by Crown Prince Harold of Norway. The Scandinavian Gold Cup to Ted Turner's nemesis of America. Turner's determination paid off, and despite his late arrival, he won the 3 races which counted. Now the glamour event of the International 5.5 metre Regatta, the World Championship. This is the one which will decide who's best, and to battle for that decision, the world's best 5.5 metre men have converged on Sydney. Ted Turner, Bobby Simonet, Crown Prince Harold, Tom Nathurst, Ernie Fay. And in time for today's race, Qantas have flown in Olympic gold medalist Peter Sunderland of Sweden to skipper Barraguda. They have taken up the gauntlet thrown down by Australia's finest yachtsmen. They're ready now to lay their skill on the line. The start of the World Championship. They're beating into a fresh breeze towards the windward mark, 10 to 15 knots, could favour the Australians. This is the Olympic course. After the windward mark, a shy run to the wing, the triangle being completed to the leeward mark, another beat to weather, a run to leeward, and then a work into the wind for the finish. But now it's round the weather mark for the first time. Spinnakers out, and the run for the wing mark. On this shy run, the race begins to take its shape. It's not the Australians who take advantage of the conditions, but the American Sundance, just arrived from the States and racing in the regatta for the first time. At the helm, Ernie Fay, 5-time Scandinavian Gold Cup winner. A jibe around the wing mark, and it's Sundance reaching to leeward ahead of Crown Prince Harold in Crest. On sheets now, as they round the leeward mark and beat to windward. Still Sundance, but only 4 seconds astern, Crest is fighting hard. John B. from the Bahamas is 13 seconds further back, and Sweden's Tomato is in 4th place. On the wind, it's a race between Sundance and Crest. A beautiful sight. The boats, flashing sails. They round the windward mark for the second time. Despite the international flavour up front, the Australian boats are still ready to make a run for it. Southern Cross 2, Kevin McCann's Carabella, skippered by Dave Forbes, and Bobby Miller's Teal. A field of 18, ready to square off and run to leeward in the wake of the leaders. Sundance now well in front. For spectator Bill Northam, a wry moment as he watches Barrenjoey round the mark well back in the field. In 1964, he skippered her to win an Olympic gold medal. The battle now is with Burrabra and the rest of the tail-enders as they struggle to get out of the ruck. Around the leeward mark, and it's the final beat to the finish. The first of 7 races, this will establish a points lead for one of the boats, which will give it a head start in the long tussle to decide which will be world champion for 1970. It's still Sundance, with Crest closing the gap. But can she close it in time? Sundance is the winner, with Crest second and Tomato third. Following Tomato over the line, Bobby Simonet brings in John B. and Dave Forbes, the Australian boat Carabella. In 6th place, it's still a handy points position for America's nemesis. The first thought after every race, where do we stand in the points score? And the second, can we clean up in time for tomorrow's event? After the 4th race, there's quite a bit of cleaning up. Dave Forbes at Carabella.
Traveller on the main boom jammed up on the weather side of the boat when we're when we're tacking. And the boom can't slide from side to side when you go through the wind, so nothing much you could do about it. We had the tail with the sail well off, and we kicked it across a couple of times, but it finally jammed on one side towards the end of the race. But everybody's got a good excuse.
Dave isn't the only one with an excuse for not winning in that wild southerly. A broken mast has given Ted Turner and his crew a real make and mend job on Nemesis.
We're only going to put one winch on. Now.
There are the rest of the bolts.
You got 8 now.
Right.
Yeah, well, 3 on each side will do. Okay. Well, you had 4 on each side before, didn't you? Want there 8 per winch?
No.
Although Nemesis is only running 7th in the points list, there are still 3 races to go. There's still a chance.
Scotty, where'd you say that seizing wire was?
On the tender just here.
The tender just here. The cresta?
Just beside you, over there, the one there.
Okay, secure it off.
All right.
Now run me up a spreader.
A broken mast to be mended. A hole in the deck where a winch mounting ripped out. But the job's completed half an hour before the start of the 5th.
There's an Allen wrench down in the bilge.
Want a life strip we got that.
I need it.
They're getting ready on crest too, but no problems here.
This boat seems to perform better than we thought. It's very easy to handle, and we seem to be keeping up with most of the competitors. It's a nice change.
As they move out for the start of the 5th race, Crest is running 2nd in the points table to the Australian Carabella. Others still in the running are John B., Tomato, Sundance, Southern Cross 2, Nemesis, and King's Cross. A wide choice for champion as they cross the line for the 5th. Beating to windward in a lumpy sea churned up by a southerly gusting to 20 knots, the yacht's battle conditions little better than yesterday. In seas like this, accidents can happen. But maybe that's the thrill of racing the 5s. And it happens. On the first beat to windward, Brian Northam's Barrenjoey is dismasted. Tokyo, 1964, a proud Olympic winner. Off Barrenjoey, 1970, a disheartened namesake. All hope of the championship is washed away by those angry seas. But while the seas take toll on Barrenjoey, Carabella revels in them. Carabella, responding perfectly to the helmsmanship of Dave Forbes and fully justifying the pride of her owner and crewman, Kevin McCann.
We first decided on building this boat late in 1967 to contest the Olympic trials, which were to be held in Botany Bay in March of 68. We approached Britton Chance, and he gave us this, what he termed his radical design, and it certainly turned out to be that.
A beautiful run, but there's still a race to be fought. America's Nemesis is ahead, and not far behind is Southern Cross 2, followed closely by Crest. It's the last run to the leeward mark, but by now, Ted Turner has forged further away in Nemesis. The last tack into the wind, and he crosses the finishing line 1 minute 53 seconds ahead of Carabella. There was a struggle for 3rd between Crest and Southern Cross 2, but the Australian yacht maintained its lead, holding Crown Prince Harold to 4th place. 2 races to go, and while Carabella is well ahead in point score, Crest still has a chance with Nemesis, John B., and Sundance. The 6th heat. This could be the deciding race. In a light, variable breeze, Ted Turner quickly takes Nemesis to the lead. He holds the lead throughout and wins comfortably. But again, Carabella comes in 2nd, and Carabella was ahead on points. There's still tension as the placings are fed through from the Regatta office at Pittwater to the computer in the city office of Australian General Electric. The progressive points are collated, an allowance calculated for the discard of 1 bad race, and within 5 minutes, the result is fed back to the Pittwater repeater. As the crews prepare for the 7th and final race, there's the feeling of holiday sport in the air. No taut nerves or cracking tensions. The issue has been decided. Carabella is world champion. On points, she cannot be beaten. Competitors like Gordon Ingate, who sailed Pam to victory in last year's Scandinavian Gold Cup, acknowledge that it's a fitting win. Carabella's owner, Kevin McCann, is vice president of the International 5.5 Metre Association and was largely responsible for organizing this bicentenary regatta. But now, sheet hand Kevin and skipper Dave Forbes have their minds on another race.
The seas look similar to yesterday and still fairly steep, and the wind's a little fresher. We've got a nice relaxed race coming up, and providing we can get going early, we should be able to keep with this Turner fellow that's really going well in these conditions. We've got to watch that start today, Jim. The line is very critical. We must get a good start today if we're going to beat these fellows.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
A bad start for Southern Cross 1. Forced to windward of the line, she'll have to go round again for another crack. But the others are off smartly in a sloppy sea, churned up by a fresh southerly wind. The windward beat, and already the holiday mood is beginning to disappear. Carabella has a reputation to maintain, and there are still those minor placings to be fought out. American yachts, Nemesis and Sundance, are both strongly favoured. Crest could give Norway a medal, and there's even a chance for Australia's Southern Cross too. No question that they're making a race of it. It looks good for Sweden as Tomato is first up with her spinnaker around the windward mark. John B. from the Bahamas is second, with Sundance running third. The Shy run to the wing, and already changes are looming. The new world champion, Carabella, moves into second place. As they jibe for the reach to the leeward mark, Tomato is still the leader, and Carabella is followed around by Southern Cross 2, Sundance, and John B. Nemesis and Crest are still back in the ruck. The leaders are still holding as they beat around into the wind. Tomato, Carabella, Southern Cross 2. Working back to windward for the second time, the leaders are abeam the rest of the field, who are still flying their kites. It's kites again around the windward mark with a square run coming up. Jockeying for position here as Carabella covers Tomato, and Norman Booth sees his chance to slip Southern Cross 2 through to the lead. But a boom broken on the turn will cost him the race. Another contender, Nemesis, coming up fast as Ted Turner sets course for a medal. The fight's still on as they beat to the finish. Sailing brilliantly, Dave Forbes has taken Carabella to the lead from Tomato, with Southern Cross 2 losing way as Nemesis comes up. They're still battling for those places, the silver and bronze medals. But Dave Forbes is world champion helmsman of the world champion yacht. It's Carabella, proving she's best. Nemesis second, and second in the world championship. But the interest now is on a duel for third, as Sundance and Crest, almost equal in the points tally, stage a private battle for the bronze medal. And Sundance pips Crest at the post to take third championship place after Nemesis and world champion Carabella.
It's been tremendous having the opportunity to sail in a boat such as Carabella and get out there and beat these guys. I think it's great for Australia to think that they are with them and they can beat them in a series such as this. It's been a tremendous experience for me to have the opportunity to race in the World Championship in our own territory with all our supporters. It's a big help, I think.
First, Carabella, DJ Forbes. Second, Nemesis, R.E. Turner. 3 wonderful weeks of racing, and wonderful tales to be told now it's over. Maybe some will be longer than a spinnaker pole, but they'll all include congratulations for the place-getters. When the visitors arrived, Prime Minister Gorton wished them good sailing, and that's what they've had in the W.D. and H.O. Wills 1970 International 5.5-meter Regatta.
I'm going to shake it. Congratulations.
The races rerun, the battles refought. Now there's only the formality of the presentations. From External Affairs Minister McMahon, Ted Turner accepts his silver medal for the World Championship and the Scandinavian Gold Cup.
Mr. Turner, I think you ought to let everyone have a look at this most beautiful cup and give a description of it too, because the women would love it.
The mermaid looks good. No, in all seriousness, I haven't really prepared much, except that I would like to say that it takes more than one person to sail these boats, and then, as we all know, and in this Gold Cup, I had Peter Munson from Texas and Mike Lehman from New York sailing with me, and without them, we never would have been able to do it. I've been to a lot of regattas, and I've never enjoyed one this much, and I think that's true of all of our crew, and the hospitality and the friendship, and we thank you very, very much.
Third, Sundance, Mr. Fay.
Well done.
Thank you. As you all probably know, the United States prides itself on its technical advances and ability and being able to put a man on the moon and odds and ends. But somehow or other, we forgot about the separate rudder, and it's our job. And we learned a few lessons in sailing and under good, hard conditions, and we hope you'll all come to Sewanaka in 1971, and perhaps we can get back on the ball.
The World Championship. First, Carabella, Mr. McCann.
I'd like the man responsible for this and Jimmy Gannon also to come up here, please.
And now, would you say something? Please.
Your Royal Highnesses, ministers, ladies and gentlemen, I really can't express how I actually feel, and I'm sure Kevin and Jim feel exactly the same. Sailing Kevin's boat has been just marvellous, and I really can't say I've enjoyed anything more. For the presentation of the trophies, I thank our Minister for coming along and doing this honour to us, and to the Crown Prince for participating and coming to Australia and sailing has been just marvellous. I really believe this is a wonderful honour for me, and I really have appreciated sailing in the boat.
Well,